Great, wonderful.
Thanks everyone for attending. My name is Paul DuPont from Notify Technology. I have had the pleasure of giving this, of working with GroupLink on these webinars over the past couple of years, and they're like a terrific idea, and I thank GroupLink for sponsoring them. We've got a bunch of slides to go through. As I had mentioned, we may not have enough time for a whole lot of questions, but feel free to reach out to me. I think my contact info is in here. If not, we can get it to you. We've got a whole team of salespeople that can answer your questions as well. So let's move through here. For those of you that don't know much about us, we were founded in '94. We've been working on mobility for 10 years. Current products: Notify Link, on-premise, on-demand, and Notify Sync, and we're going to talk about that for those of you that are using the DataSync connector. We want to talk to you about how that product would fit into your environment. We've got a new product we're working on that's coming out in free trial starting February 1, so it could be exciting for some of you to sign up. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to get you to see the possibility where some of you, from a management perspective, would feel the Notify Link product may be more of what you need versus our new Notify MDM. If you are running the data synchronizer mobility connector, then you would be more interested in our Notify MDM product, our new product. If you're not able to run the data synchronizer, then I think you'd be interested in looking at the Notify Link product. So I'll take questions on that later, but that's give you a little bit of heads up right there. We've been recognized by Gartner Group for the last 6 years. We have several thousand Notify Link customers and over 1,000 Notify Sync customers. We're very experienced in the device side of the business and actually on the platform side, but as we go forward, our focus is really going to be management of these devices. So here's a quick commercial for an interesting product. For those of you that are using the DataSync connector, you might be interested in this. I haven't talked about it before because there weren't that many people using the DataSync connector. If you are using the DataSync connector and you have maybe a handful of BlackBerries, or you've got 5, 10 BlackBerries and all that, you might want to consider looking at Notify Sync. Notify Sync is an Activesync client for the BlackBerry, and it actually eliminates the need for a BlackBerry Enterprise server, unless you're using lots of IT policies on your BlackBerries, and I mean more than just wipe or password setting, things like that. I think you'll find this to be a very inexpensive product to maintain. It basically turns your BlackBerry into an Activesync device, very similar to what your iPhone or Android or Windows Mobile devices are working. And it's very robust. It's product's over 2 years old. We've probably got about 15,000 users out there, sell it all over the world, and it will work on any email platform that supports Activesync. And you can see some of the features. You can go out to our website. You can sign up for an evaluation, free trial. Very nice product. From an architecture standpoint, I think you'll see here you've got a BlackBerry, and there is no knock. It works, right through the internet, right into the company, and it really would just connect with your group-wide data synchronizer, mobility connector, or if you had, another email platform there, as long as it supported Activesync, you'll be there. So you see, I put the red circles with the line through them to let you see that it's a real straight, simple connection for the product. All right, and we'll talk a little bit about Notify Link. So from a device management standpoint, and Notify Link is not pure device management. It allows for the synchronization of email and PIM as well as device management, and this has been our legacy product. I will talk to you later about our Notify MDM product, which is what we call a pure MDM solution. In other words, it does not do any email and PIM synchronization. It just focuses on management of the devices, and it assumes the devices are connected via Activesync, whereas Notify Link does not. With Notify Link, think of it as kind of like a integration of the GroupWise mobile server and the BlackBerry Enterprise server all in one. It's a robust product. It supports every device out there. Works on any carrier. It also works on a variety of different email platforms, but my guess is the majority of you are on GroupWise. From a platform version standpoint, we actually I need to update this slide. We actually work as well as on the iPad as 4.x as well. So in general, on the iOS side, we support the latest and greatest iOS version. On BlackBerries, we're all the way up to version 6. For those of you that look at WebOS, version 1.4. And you can see from the Android perspective, we support all of the Android devices out there. On the Android side, in order to provide some consistency in management, we currently recommend using the Touchdown client. It's very inexpensive. It's one-time charge from us. You can go get it from the Android market and I think its current version is 6.2. It allows us to manage the Android devices and guarantee a certain level of functionality across all of them. From 2.2 up, though, it's not required. Though some companies like the idea of having a sandbox for corporate data and being able to put all the corporate data in the Touchdown client, and then when we do a wipe or a lockdown or whatever, it really focuses on that corporate data. And going back to a wipe, it would only wipe out the corporate data and would leave your personal data alone. So some of our customers like that. Just a little bit about, have we been in the business for a while? We started with in the fall of 2002, and our current release now is Notify Link 4.7. Evolution of the product. Notify Link itself started out as email and PIM synchronization, but as it has evolved over the past years, we've spent a whole lot of energy adding, security, manageability, supportability, and definitely a device, what we call device management, into the package. A lot of you, some of you may be using it already, and we continue to enhance it. The way the product works is that in the for BlackBerry and the Chrome Trio, we still require a client, and on the what we'll call Activesync devices, which are your iPhone, iPad, iPod, Android, WebOS, Windows Mobile. I should also have here Windows Phone 7 and Symbian. They come in via Activesync. So you can see in this picture that Notify Link actually has integrated inside of itself an Activesync connector, and it's a very robust Activesync connector. It allows the support for version 2.5, 12, and 12.1 of the Activesync protocol. Okay. It also does things like support for HTML email, which is probably one of the biggest negatives of the data synchronizer, the fact it does not support HTML email yet. from the wireless email side, we do the email, we do the PIM functionality, but I think what's most important is the total management piece. Now, we offer the product in both an on-demand and an on-premise. So you can, if you don't have a lot of users, I think the on-demand is really attractive. We do everything there, including the support. On the on-premise, it's more of a traditional install. You bring it up behind your firewall, you manage it, you maintain it. We provide you Tier 2 support. Architecture of the product has really three main components. If you look at the diagram here, you'll have a web component that talks to the devices, requires a database, and then there's a messaging component that interfaces into the group-wise mail store and the local SMTP server for outbound email. Don't let the diagram scare you. Most of the time, customers under 1,000 users can fit on one server. Product is very scalable, very robust. Typically, a customer will have the database and the messaging component on one server, and then possibly the HTTP component could be, depending upon what they've got in their DMZ, could be sharing a server or could have its own server. And that all varies depending upon the number of users, and we can help you out with that if you have any questions. If you're a small customer out there, I would say under 100 users, I really consider the on-demand product. It's priced very reasonably, and I don't think you can provide the management support and all of that for the price that we're offering it with the on-demand. With NotifyLink, from a management standpoint, we get into things like rules and security rules. You'll see that we try to enforce lots of different types of policies on these devices to the degree that we can. It's not always the case that we can do it across every device, but this is kind of like one of the lowest common denominator as far as functionality, that we try to have all of the devices at some level. We're constantly, from a device management standpoint, we're constantly monitoring the devices in real time, so that when you go back to the management console for NotifyLink, you can be able to see things like what the battery life is, memory, when the last time they synchronized, quite a bit of information, quite a bit of control. You have the ability to blast out broadcast a message, things like that. You can break users up into groups. There's quite a bit of management capability. Now, if you don't need all of that, you don't need to use it. But what we're seeing is that once a customer starts getting in, a sizable number of devices, the need for, being able to wrap their arms around all those mobile users out there from a visibility standpoint, from a, supportability standpoint, starts to get more and more important. Some of the characteristics that we try to get off of the devices, model, type, network, these are all helpful, I think, when you're providing support for your customers. One of the things that we've tried to put together a little bit of a comparison here between a data synchronizer and NotifyLink, and I think the two areas that I think that we provide more value, tactically right now, we support version 12 and 12.1 of the Activesync protocol, which really allows the administrator to be able to put a lot more password control onto the devices and security. The other big item is the support for HTML email. I think those are the two big ones. The fact that it only runs on SLES 11 64-bit or only supports, GroupWise 8.0 is also can be a negative for those folks that are on Windows still or not on version 8 of GroupWise. A couple of pictures here on the management standpoint. This is a screenshot for the Activesync Rules. This is the level of control that I'm talking about with Notify Link at the user, at the end user device level. You can see here that we can do inactivity timeouts, wipe on failed unlock attempts, password expiration, password history. You can't do any of this with a data synchronizer yet. Someday, yes. I think their target is to open up this type of functionality in about 6 months, in their late summer release. But again, if you need this level of control now, start out with us. You could start out with our on-demand. You could start out with our Notify Link, and then possibly migrate to our Mdm product, which I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes. Another feature another enhancement is we've always had a client web interface, and now we've added the capability to do a remote wipe, to remove a mailbox, clear a device, things like that, that kind of pushing this out to the individual. In case the administrators, you lose a device, you want to wipe it. Maybe it's late at night, can't get a hold of the IT folks, maybe they're not there. We felt that it's important that users have some sort of self-service capability to help themselves out when they're at when it's a bad time or not a good time, or on the weekends, things like that, when there aren't people available to help them out. The other interesting feature is the ability to have a second device on the on your email account. With the iPad coming out, or with some of the tablets coming out, some of the folks really want to have both a smartphone and a tablet on their same account. This can be done. We use an alias to do it, but what's cool about it is that when you if you have both devices provisioned to your account, when you do the reply from the alias, the device that's using an alias email, as you can see in the screen here, we actually allow you to set the sender email address. So it looks like, regardless of whether it's your alias or not, the person receiving your email will see it's from your primary email account, so they won't get confused with an alias. So let's see, why choose Notify Link for GroupWise? Well, for those of you that may not be able to use the data synchronizer, I think it's a great opportunity to be able to connect and manage your iOS, Android, Windows mobile devices to GroupWise. So now let's talk about something new, and this is, we announced this in December, and this is Notify Mdm. It will be available for a free trial starting February 1. You go out to our website, you can sign up. So let me tell you a little bit about Mdm here. We define Mdm, and our Notify Mdm is having, a series of or a set of functionality. And I'm just going to go from left to right on this one. Centralized management and visibility. This is the whole idea of being able to, as you add lots of devices via Activesync. And the whole premise of this product is that you're running the data synchronizer. I'll show you an example of where you don't have to be, but I think that'll be rare. That seems to be more of a hybrid situation. But for the most part, this product is targeted at large, medium to large installations of Activesync devices. So we feel that today, as these devices are being integrated into the company or being brought in by employees or corporate-owned or employee-owned, just if you look at the mechanism to connect them to Activesync, whether it be on GroupLink or Exchange or on any email platform, the email platform itself was never designed to be a management platform. It's just really designed to, have a couple of checkoff boxes, set the device in motion, and provide email and PIM synchronization. I think the management, we're of the opinion that the actual investment in the management of these devices and doing the kind of things I'm about to tell you about are really going to be probably done by a third party. As I can see out in the market now, there's several of us out there when creating these MDM solutions. A second area is security, policies, and audit. So when you have all these Activesync devices out there, it's probably going to be the case that you're going to want to make sure that they're secure, that you probably are able to enforce some policies on them, and that in some cases, depending upon the nature of your business, there may be some compliance requirements. And therefore, you may want some audit capability, being able to, for example, track phone logs or track SMS or, track MMS. The next item we call real-time device information and statistics. That's being able to get information from the device. Is the individual roaming? Does the individual have enough memory? How about its battery? All that type of information. When's the last time it connected? Does it have an SD card? How much memory is left on the SD card? What's the IMEI number of the device? What's the model of the device? What version of the OS is the device running? All that kind of information. You'd like to be able to have that. Not only might have it, but also maybe do something with that data and then provide reports for you, things like that. On the application management side, we see the requirement becoming stronger and stronger for application control on the device. I only want to allow certain types of applications on my corporate-owned devices, or I don't want to see these applications on my corporate-owned device. So there's a lot of activity going on in this area. One of the realities for us as a developer is that the tools that we have to limit application management, I think, varies platform to platform. And so what we've attempted to do in our first version of Notify MDM is basically provide the framework to do all of this stuff and then, offer it as the platform, the device platform, allows us to do it. So we might be able to do some application management on an iOS device, but maybe not on an Android, or maybe not on Windows Phone 7. So you will see in our documentation in kind of like a matrix form where we'll, basically, have the devices, and then we'll have a list of the features, and it'll kind of say, yes, we do, or no, we don't, or it's available. The good news is as that type of functionality is enabled by the OS manufacturer, then it'll fit nice and clean into our framework. Asset tracking and location. Here it's more of the framework to know what devices are out there, model numbers, version numbers of OS. Location is mentioned here in the fact that we can track the device. You can find the device. Location can be used for a couple of different ways. It could be used to find a lost device. It could also be used to determine that an employee is, you know, working within the geographic perimeter that they're supposed to be, or in some cases, just locate the person. Where is he? Where is she? Another area is alert notification and report generation. Setting thresholds on values and then having alerts come out of it. For example, you could set alerts for when someone is roaming, for when memory is getting low, for when someone potentially is stepping out of a perimeter, things like that. There will be alert notification. And then, from a report generation standpoint, all of the information we're collecting from the device on a periodic interval, it's coming in all day long. That information is being saved to a database. That information can then be, extracted out and provided in a report capability for you. End user self-service portal. We feel that any MDM solution needs to have a mechanism for end users to do some of their own management. And that goes back to, very simplistic things of wiping their device or resetting their device, things like that. And you'll see some screenshots here in a few minutes of each and every one of these. And then last but not least, the ability to offer the product is on-premise or on-demand. Some people are going to want the management behind their firewall, and others will be happy that it's cloud-based, that they don't have to do anything more than just have a console and manage the device. And the one thing to note here is that in order for us to do this level of device management, there is a client on each device that we manage, or there will be a client on each device we manage. And if we don't have that client available at this when we launch the product, it is in development. So when it's all said and done, there will be a thin management client on each and every device platform that we support. One of the key design goals of this product, kind of very, I think, important for us, is number one, we really wanted to make this thing simple to use. We've got lots of experience. I've got there after 8 years, 3,000 customers, and 500,000 support calls. We've learned a lot in 8 years about mobility, about the customer, about what it's like to be in this space. So what we hope to achieve with our new product is that we keep it simple, very effective, get the job done, very sensitive to the cost and reliability. You need to be able to bank on this thing. It's going to work whether it's the cloud having a high SLA or the product just working all the time. So we think those are four key elements in our design goals. Okay, a little bit on the architecture. So the way this is an example of the on-demand version. The on-premise would be just behind the firewall. But since our free trial starts Feb 1, we're offering the on-demand, I thought I'd kind of talk about that. As you'll see on the left-hand side, our MDM product will work with any platform that supports Activesync. So it's pretty much platform agnostic in that sense. The goal here, which is different than NotifyLink. NotifyLink continues to handle the email and PIM synchronization and some management. This product, Notify MDM, is 100% focused on MDM, and that's what we use the term pure play MDM. In other words, there is no email and PIM syncing going on here. We provide the gateway for Activesync commands and information to go through, but we do not, we are out of the email and PIM sync business with MDM product. And so therefore, this is a product that we absolutely encourage you. You need to have the data sync connector running in order to use it, except for a case here where I'll show you that a couple of customers have given us an idea of using a combination of this and Notify Link in a different way. Here is a kind of a very interesting hybrid architecture of where Notify Link and MDM are used together. This is a rare situation, but it would be only in the case of a customer who was not using the data sync connector for a variety of reasons, or did not want to use it. Because what Notify Link, you'll say, well, what does Notify Link actually provide you in this particular scenario? Well, what it does is it provides the missing functionality that the data sync connector doesn't have. And that would be, in some cases, simply HTML email support. I think that's the biggest reason someone is looking at sticking Notify Link in there in this architecture, is they need HTML support. And I don't know any other way to do it other than stick Notify Link in there. Okay, and in this particular excuse me, in this particular diagram, the actual Notify Link product is really only playing a very simplistic role. It is playing as an Activesync gateway to GroupLink. It is actually taking the place of the data sync connector. Now you'll say, gee, I can't afford all this. I got 2 products and all that. In this particular architecture, we have decided only to charge for MDM. There will be no fee for Notify Link. So we get calls from you folks saying, hey, Paul said that Notify Link's free. Yes, it is, only on this slide architecture, or it's being used with MDM. So not for everybody, but it can be done. It's a kind of an intriguing approach. Let me spend the last few minutes here going through some screenshots of the MDM product. We have this activity monitor, which is really the dashboard of the product. It's 6 panels. You'll be able to drag and drop displays. So we're going to have a whole set of things you can plot, you know, graphs, charts, whatever, real-time information. And so as we're getting the information off of the devices, it'll be appearing on these screens simultaneously. You can then click on one, expand it out. As I was saying, this will be able to give you, I mean, you can look at, you know, your devices, their OSs, you know, anything, any kind of permutation and combination we're trying to come up with is templates for information on the dashboard. We get into the next area is, and you can see by the top of the screen here, it says here activity monitor, smart devices, systems management. You can see those tabs. We're going to just go through these tabs real quick. Here's, in this particular screen, this is how we lay out the users. And then on the right-hand side here, whatever the highlighted user is, you'll see a little summary. That actually gets some summary information as well as some action items from there. Let me go to the next slide here. So what can we monitor here in real time? Well, first of all, on this particular screen, you'll see I brought up the check boxes. Okay, as you check those boxes, those columns get added to the screen. And so this whole screen scrolls left and right. So you get up to what, 20, you'd end up with 24 columns in this. And so this is all the information listed on the left that we're going to be tracking And that'll be, you know, from username, ownership, last sync time, phone number type, policy suite, all kinds of good stuff. And this is all coming. And then we also have some custom column values that can be put in there. Then we get into the user information. Here's where we, you can see here some more information that we're tracking on the user. Last sync time, memory capacity. I mean, this is all being done on a device-by-device basis. It's pretty cool stuff. I mean, this gives you some real interesting power into managing the devices that are out there. Location, you can locate. You can see, depending upon when you're pulling the location data, if it's every 10 minutes, 5 minutes, you'll be able to see where this person has kind of been during that time. We see adding some capability here over time and make it being able to set up a perimeter and then getting an alert when they move out of the perimeter. Compliance. Here's a screenshot where we're tracking phone calls, MMS, SMS. For those of you that are interested in some form of compliance and need it for a requirement for the device. We can't do it with every device, but we can do it with a majority of them. Management console, here's where we get into setting policy suites. You can see that we have the concept of corporate versus personal. Every policy is broken up into two components, a corporate one and personal one. So if you have a mixture of corporate devices and personal devices out on your network, you'll be able to set policies. So if you had a sales team and some had their own device and some had corporate device, you could set the policy to handle both. You can just use a default policy, or you can copy policies. We give you quite a bit of capability in managing policies, setting them up. You can set policy suites up. You can assign a policy suite for sales team, a policy suite for executives. You can get pretty granular on how you want to set your policy suites up. Here's the next couple of slides. Basically show you the levels of the policy setting themselves, how we can get down to it, the level of policy that we're getting to. On this one, on the password, you can see where you get into require password, allow simple password. I mean, it gets pretty intense. Now, here's the good news. Even though the data sync connector from Novell can't do any of this, when you throw MDM on top of it, you can do all of it. Because remember, the devices can do this, okay? The data sync connector cannot, it doesn't have that level of control and active sync capability to take advantage of all this, but the MDM product does. So even using the data sync connector, you can get this level of control by using the MDM product. You know, more secure, you got encryption, duress, device inactivity and locking. Again, these are all the things now that you can do in conjunction with the data sync connector. An emergency call set up for 911. The last one we'll wrap up here is with the user self-administration portal. Individuals can sign up from their, they can get in there, they can get from their desktop. And they can do simple things like wipe a device, locate a device, get password, clear the device, clear storage. These are the kind of things. I see us investing a lot into this area. I think, we're going after really large organizations. They're going to have, hundreds, thousands of users. I think the more we empower the end user being able to do things, the happier IT is going to be. Take a lot of that off of their back, especially as they start to allow more and more personal devices coming into the network. That was kind of my last slide. I mean, I could show you many more slides. I gave you a really fast tour through the MDM product. It is very powerful. It will provide a terrific complement to the data sync connector. And if you can't use the data sync connector, you can use Notify Link. So you've got actually a couple of options. Didn't mean to confuse you on which product. I'm sure some of you are kind of wondering, well, which one is for me, Notify Link or Notify MDM? Come and talk to us. We can figure that out for you pretty quick. All of our products have free evaluations. They're both on-prem and on-demand. And we welcome you to try it out. And I hope that we've been able to give you a little bit of a better idea of where we're going as a company in the management space. So I would like to, for those of you that are still interested, any questions, I'd be very delighted to take any questions that any of you have out there.
Paul, one that came through that I see is there a charge for the second device? I think that was
good question. Yeah, on the second device, it's half price.
Perfect. All right, let's see. I don't see any other questions right now. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them through on the chat or the Q&A.
And we'll email this presentation out, or you'll put posted, and you know, we'll reach out to the attendees that were on here and send them the information, and they can come back and, you know, ask more questions or try out. I really encourage those people that are on the data synchronizer right now to take a look at signing up for the free Notify MDM trial that starts on October.
Perfect.
And they can do that by just going to our website.
Wonderful.